All right. This is a personal message for Gary Vaynerchuk. So just wanted to make this message available to him. I'm actually going to pull up some notes here. Hold on. Let's see here. Let's see. There we go. So Gary Vaynerchuk, I was just listening to one of your YouTubes, about an hour of content. And I have to say, I've been following you for a very, very long time. And it's truly my objective with this is that maybe somehow, some way that you'll actually watch it. I know that you've got millions and millions of followers. And I know that it might sound like, as a message for trying to shill a product. And actually, that's not really the case. I'm not trying to sell anything. What struck me and made me really personally want to reach out to you was to first and foremost to show some appreciation for really the culture, I think, of your content, of what you're trying to accomplish and how you talk to your community. And what I felt that is it just resonates so well with how I feel about our community. We're the SWP, Saitama Wolfpack community. It's a meme token project. And we've essentially built a media production company, both animations and video content from a meme token, documenting the story of a comeback. It's the story of a comeback of a project that happened about 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago at this time, went up to $7 billion in market cap and then collapsed, partly due to fraud and market manipulation and outright lies. And what happened is that this community, many of our community members were there. Some were not. Some have joined us since because they really resonated with the beliefs, the style of community that we are. And like I say, the reason I think that you, Gary, I would like to talk with you, if at all you want to respond to this video, you want to send me a DM, you wanted to just give a comment in any way, is because I think that many of the stories that you share when you're giving your talks at conferences and the different YouTubes that I've seen from you through the years, it's very similar to why I started actually getting on camera. And I also want to thank you for the fact that you're so adamant about the getting in front of the camera, the consistency of content, the getting on the multiple different platforms, all of that. So much of that is things that I've kind of heard you saying over and over and over and over again, all the way back from Crush It in whatever that was, 2008. To hear the same message over and over, and I think that you probably recognize that in the bottom of it, very often the message is the same over and over again. It's the same with our community. Very often, what we're trying to convey, what I would have been conveying tonight to our community, this is our normal time for our space. This is the normal time we traditionally are doing X spaces, just updating the community, community sharing about what's been going on. But tonight I wanted to make it a special outreach to you, partly because it just never actually struck me that you have Vayner Productions, and that is a company that would actually produce content that we could end up seeing on what we now, the modern version of television. And that is exactly what our project is looking to break into with our content, which is, again, both animations, if that's the route that becomes the popular. Last week on this channel, on this live space, we actually streamed, I paired together all of the episodes that we've created so far for our video cartoon series. A lot of funny jokes. If you ever were to watch it, just watch it. And I mean, I hope that you would see where we're going. Again, some of the coaching and mentorship, we have actually listened to your messages, and I do want to just show appreciation for that. Again, I know that there's miles and miles and miles of things that we've heard, have begun to digest, but haven't quite implemented yet. But if it should be that anyone from Vayner Productions wants to reach back out to us and listen to the idea of what this could be, I will just pitch it here. Again, if anybody on your team listens to this, just so that you have a chance to hear what you're saying yes or no to. And again, you can say maybe. You can say yes, you can say no, you can say maybe. Again, we're gonna fight on regardless. We're going to produce content regardless. We've got two full-time animators, a full-time staff member. It's a director of operations supporting the community. We've got myself as the CEO. And again, we're creating content about crypto. It's entertainment, education, documenting a semi, historical about some things that have physically in real life happened. And again, I think that just so that you would understand that I think that the storyline for a production company who was making any kind of television content really can be put together in a way that resonates with the modern audience. It could be anywhere from a 30-minute documentary about the history of the project that I was talking about, as well as the comeback version of it being the good guys get back together. Instead of seeing themselves as victims, they get back together and they focus on becoming um, redoing what they lost. So just imagine you had over 700 people became millionaires in that project. And you have the ones that cashed in at the peak. You have the ones that manipulated and lied and ended up, in a dishonest way. And you had a lot of those 700 millionaires who they truly believed in the community. They didn't want to harm the community. They believed in the future of what was going to happen, and they stuck with it. They believed in the things that were promised to come, many of which never actually came, and some of which probably were never ever going to come, right? It was just hype, it was just lies, it was hot air. And what anybody who's involved in crypto realizes is that it's a brutal place. Crypto is a brutal place. I mean, and that's where I understand that what you guys, were probably considering is that, okay, do I want to even, have any connection with a crypto project that I don't understand? Just be aware that our entire community is doxxed. Our liquidity is burned. Our contract is renounced. We don't have any giant holders. We've been around for a long time. It's not one of those ones that truly becomes like a pump and dump or a rug pull. It's simply a community that's going to survive or not just based on our own fighting, our own grit, our own determination. And what we're seeing so far is that this community is holding it together. But the the longevity of this project has to do with us producing content in order to get more eyeballs into this. And we're doing it one way or another. We're doing it. In some ways, this story is playing out as a sort of a reality TV show. We are documenting what's happening right now. We're documenting in via stories and interviews the history of what happened in the past. We're creating content which is educational pieces about designed for people newly entering the crypto market to learn how to what to do and what not to do. And I think that what all of this puts together for all of us is just something that keeps us engaged to grow. I liken it to, and you're going to love this, Gary. So I liken it to a football team. So just think about the New York Jets. If the Saitama Wolfpack, SWP, is similar to the New York Jets, what's the similarities? Well, again, it's sort of like a club. It's sort of like something that people are, some people have put in the little bit of money they are able to purchase some tokens, but the reality of what they're there for is the community. It's some entertainment. It's something that's exciting that you do instead of some other forms of entertainment. Instead of going and watching Netflix, you kind of get in tune with your community that's part of this crypto community, which in this case, a meme token, SWP. And for us, listen to the new content, join the spaces, join the VC and Telegram, interacting. Again, we're on all the different social medias, trying to take your advice, Gary, to just put something out every single day and engage as much as humanly possible. We do have partners that are working with us to help promote the project. But I truly believe that if Vayner Productions reached out to us or responded to us, that we could put together some form of content that I think would be very entertaining. Whether it be, if you just check out our cartoon series and see if that's something that could be, published in a larger level. If you look at some of our full length interviews, we have a serious interview of about almost 30 minutes. We have interviews with people from past. We have just a number of one-on-one interviews and spaces. So we have hours and hours of content besides hundreds of the little short videos and animations and memes that just put together this giant web of content that our community has, which really makes up our identity. And it's something that it's only growing. It's only getting better. It's only escalating. So again, that's basically the end of my personal message to you, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you do want to reach out to me, send a message, personal message. I'm at Tom Toronto on pretty much all the social media. You can look me up online. You'll find my cell phone number and email and everything. I'm online. I'm completely doxed. I work with this project. I would love to talk to you about getting some of our full-length content on your production company. That's what I would love to do. So if you do want to stick around and listen to the rest of our conversation with the community, I'd love to have you. And just because, like I say, I do think our mindset, our storyline, our way of thinking, I'm sure all of our community really needs to listen to your message about social and about how to push, how to promote. And many of us are. Many of us are, again, in the crypto world. People aren't doxed, so the way that they promote and push is different because they're remaining anonymous. Our community, many of our community members are very open about sharing who we are and pushing ourselves and doing videos because we believe in our community and we have nothing to hide. So again, if you don't end up buying the New York Jets, you could take a look at our community and support us, because like I say, we're like a great football team. We're fighters. We're looking to make a comeback that will truly be one of the biggest in crypto history. Truly, if you think about it, going from zero to over $7 billion market cap, back down to zero, and then literally from ashes, from nothing, from no money at all, to take that and push it back to 7 billion. That story is a story that even a non-crypto holder, somebody who has no idea, they don't understand it, they can grasp that story. And I think the story in itself is powerful because it's a question that people, I have to ask myself. And I think that people have, asked me about, why didn't you sell all of your tokens at the peak when it was truly life-changing money? And looking back, you have to answer that question for yourselves. Many of our community members are feeling strongly that if they ever got back to that moment in time, they would do something differently. Now, I personally have to look back and decide, okay, it's true that I would definitely do some things differently. That's absolutely true. I absolutely would. But thinking about the regrets of the last 3.5 years, regrets of if I had done the other option, I would have been able to have a very cushy life. I would have been able to kind of wrap up a lot of different types of work and had a much easier life, maybe just essentially retired and gone off to just focus on, playing golf and looking at my investments. And that would have been a true, real possibility at that time. And I think, for a lot of the 700 people that were, millionaires plus in November of 2021, they could have done the same thing. And looking back, I think about some interesting things is that, would I truly have wanted that? Because if I had truly wanted that, if I had truly wanted to turn around and be done, I would have never met my amazing colleagues, many of you in the SWP community. I would have never met you. I would have never started making videos if the market hadn't shifted. And I started making those very first videos when I did the ones about Cider Realty and eventually became connected to the Saitama on the Solana blockchain, I would have never gotten into, meeting the community, understanding a little bit of the back office, how a crypto project works. I would have never gone through the process of trying to figure out how to salvage and make the changes that we made back in September. Made some mistakes, typos, or whatever you want to call it, technical glitches. Had to make some adjustments back in December, do the relaunch because of the tax not working. All of that, none of that would have ever happened, but we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't have this community. There would be so much learning that would never have happened. There would have been so much growth that would never have happened. And if you think about it, you have to remember that, is it truly the goal to immediately get to a cushy life? Is it the goal to immediately get to where um, the goal of a crypto bull run is to cash in and be done and retire and go off and that, and of course for many that's what they're thinking, that's where they're shooting at. But is it the goal where I wish that would have happened? Because if I look back, the things in my life, including the what you could call mistakes from 2021, it's the stress, it's the challenges that I've faced since then. That's what's made me stronger. That's what's made me who I am today, is not the same person that was there back in 2021. There was a certain mindset, there was a certain amount of effort and money and risk tolerance and education and understanding, all of that I had in 2021, that put me in the right place at the right time. But the thing is that we often like to think that stress is bad. We often like to think that challenges are bad. Challenges are what make us strong. Challenges are what makes us exhilarated and excited. If you stress a muscle enough, the muscle gets stronger. So the goal is not to make it so you don't have experiences of difficulty. And many of our colleagues, many other people are in the challenging time right now because the entire market is in a really, really bad situation right now. Why? It's because of world, macroeconomics. I heard the expression it's actually on t-shirts. By the way, hopefully you see my SWP t-shirt showed up. I love it. I'm going to be wearing that every episode, every recording I do, or might get a couple different ones. But yes, my SWP showed up t-shirt is winners focus on what they can control. Winners focus on what they can control. I can't control what Donald Trump does. I can't control the interest rates. I can't control the price of Bitcoin. Literally, I have zero control over it. I can't control the entire crypto market. I can't control the tariffs. I can't control all the conspiracy theories, and I can't control that people that I really love and respect and care for decide to leave and go and invest in something that turns out to be a horrible rug pull, where they literally get essentially raped. Like that's what you experience in crypto. I think that word is probably the most exact word for some of the projects out there where people are literally raped and taken advantage of. And it's just that they're trying to win the lottery, and they go there and they end up with a brutal mistreatment because they were tricked by somebody. And especially when that plays on that they went for something that they trusted. They went to someone they trusted, they invested, and then they were completely tricked and taken advantage of. That happens more times than not, more times than I can count. And I think that one of and obviously I see it all the time, is people look at us and think, well, you must be like them because everybody seems to be like that. And you can't argue when you talk about other people. But at the same time, we show who we are through what we do. We've gone through a number of interesting and challenging markets. Literally, at this point, it's almost one full year since that very original Saitama and Soul launched. Almost an entire year. And I know that a lot of community members have been supporting and shilling and working and showing up and rating and doing their best, hoping to see this, hey, we're going to get up to this, this many million and this many million, and working for that. And almost to the point of being burned out at this point. And I understand this is a marathon, right? This is a marathon. This is not a sprint. And believe me, I would have loved it to have been at the harvest point as well, in much earlier than being on April 7th, 2025. I wasn't hoping back in May and June of last year that it would take until April 7th and still be kind of at a very, low market cap, now under $1 million. I understand that. That's a challenge. And yet, looking at when in doubt, zoom out. The main question you have to ask with any investment, doesn't matter if you were investing in real estate or gold or Bitcoin. Let's just take those as an example. If you did say, when in doubt, zoom out, you could stress yourself to death about the price of real estate. What is the price of my house? And they do go up and down. Again, they've pretty much gone up, the last 100 years. But if you truly zoomed out, there's only actually a couple of pieces of an entire 100-year period where the price of homes has gone down, like consistently gone down. Other than that, it's essentially a 4% appreciation consistently over a long, long period of time. Consistent appreciation. So if you could go back in time to almost any period in time other than maybe 2021, 2022, anywhere before that, and even in some cases, a couple of years, the last couple of years. But if you were to go back 10 years or any time before that, you literally could almost buy any house in the world, and you're making an awesome deal, just simply because houses tend to go up. Bitcoin, the original crypto, literally, you could go back to the day Bitcoin was created, and any time, including the peak of 2021, the peak, which that was the shocking peak of $69,000. You could go back, and if you're still getting a steal at $69,000, the peak of 2021, you're still making money. And any time before that, you're making money. So again, when in doubt, you zoom out. Gold, right? Gold hit $3,000. So you could literally go back any point in time to the Great Recession when gold hit its peak at that time. You could go back and gold hit a peak, which we thought was crazy, was like 1750. And then, back down, then back up $2,000, and now like $3,000 per ounce. So just keep that in mind, is that if you zoom out, you recognize that. Think about Warren Buffett, right? Warren Buffett's always talking about the longevity of things. Warren Buffett says if a stock isn't worth holding for 10 years, it's not worth holding for 10 minutes. And again, I understand that you could say that doesn't apply to meme tokens. Meme tokens come and go, and they're gone, and they just. But what if there was a meme token that was built more for the marathon than the sprint? What if there was a meme token that was more focused on longevity and not having that massive dump like so many others are having? And we decided, and it literally would be up to the community. Again, our core group at this time, which I believe consists of probably about 500 people. Just so you know, it's not about it's not 2,000 people that are holders. It's just a lot of, but we're looking probably about 500 people. Now, the true holder count, I hope, will grow, consistently, double, double, double. That's what we're hoping. But again, we're facing the situation in the market, and all I can say is Focus on the things you can control. What can you control? Well, we can control, having a, most importantly, am I living up to my potential? Am I taking care of myself? Am I taking care of my family? Set aside, if I want to support a meme project like this, set aside time every day to go and just do whatever you want to do. Shill, retweet, come up with something creative. If you're willing to take your phone and do a video and talk about the project, take your phone, do a video, share it. Um, if you do that on a consistent basis, you'll get a lot of viewers, a lot of likes. Whatever you want to do, take a few minutes each day, but don't stress about it. Don't look at the red days and the red candles and freak out and stress out and think there's something wrong, because the challenge is that it truly is not good for your health. And it's actually, we are in the process of making connections, building things that are going to be much bigger. Now, again, you probably think I'm just farming to reach out to Gary Vaynerchuk, but I legitimately have seen Gary comment on things. He's on social all the time. It's absolutely not impossible for him to respond or give some kind of a message back. He could. And even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter. We're going to continue to do what we're doing regardless. I don't know if you guys know that there was a connection between Gary Vaynerchuk and Kenny Brooks, who was the comedian guy that we had that came and supported us for a little bit, and it just turned out that he was asking way more money for us to engage him and have him in as supporting us than we could afford. So it was he wanted like $25,000 to show up at a space, literally, and it's like, unfortunately, we don't have $25,000 for you to show up at a space, but again, I hope he gets that from other people and he's making a killing. But he had a connection with Gary in the past, and like I say, Gary having that media production company, they are on the lookout for content. I've also got messages out to a number of journalists to just to basically present this story. We have a ready-made story, and also a ready-made story that has an ending that hasn't happened yet. So there can be a true kind of an exciting live twist on the outcome. I don't know if you guys have ever watched. I get tortured by seeing my anybody in my household, whether it's my son or my wife, has on um, Love is Blind. It's a show called Love is Blind. It's a reality TV show, and we were talking on the space the other day about the program called Alone, which is a reality TV show about people alone on an island. And I recognize that people do really like to see that. I just also ended up getting reconnected with a film crew, the film crew that I was working on before, the one that had done the base, I think it was 30-minute video that I recorded where it was interviewed, and has done some of the other content, was also extremely expensive. Unfortunately, for our current situation, they wanted the Hollywood, we wanted good quality, but they wanted the Hollywood monies long before we could afford that. I reconnected with a guy who is much more affordable. He's a great guy, does great content. He records and edits. And that is exciting because I believe he's well within our budget to be able to continue, doing some kind of day in the life filming and editing it. And again, what I want to do is kind of share things with the community as it's created, but be aware that it's potential to just zip things together, just like I did last week with all of the 6 episodes of the cartoon. The next episode of the cartoon should be ready by Wednesday. And I think if you've been following along, I've had some community members say, I'm just so sick and tired of hearing about this story of this 2021. And I'm sick and tired of that story. Well, you're in luck, because the story takes a funny twist. It's completely, basically kind of the end. There is a little comeback of it, but it's kind of the introduction to the Wolf Boy. And this episode, you're going to see Sam Bankman-Fried come into the picture and basically nuke the entire crypto industry. I think somebody who has no idea, about Saitama Inu 2021 could see that and understand we're presenting our superhero, our meme superhero, as well as creating something that people in crypto know about, if they understand at all what happened with FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried and that whole scenario. So um, back to our conversation about you know what what we've gone through. Here's a quote for you. If you're happiness is a decision that you make every day. So honestly, with people in our community, it really truly is, I really, really hope that the token goes up in value, but I also really, really hope that our community members do well. I really sincerely do. This isn't about just growing a community and everybody pumping in. I sincerely am happy to be able to work with amazing people like April and Shayna and Kai, our animators. I am just privileged to be able to work with such a great community. We get support from people from all over the world and have conversations. And one of the reasons that we want everybody to do well in their tokens is also that we want them to do well as people, to be happy, to be successful, and to have the money to do the things that they need to do. And this is not something that's going to end in November. For those of you, if you're watching this and you don't know, we are already on the horizon. We've got a booking for doing a conference in November 13th, exactly 4 years from the what's the word? The infamous event where the site of mask was supposed to be launched, and it's going to be basically the reunion of what's happened in the last 4 years. Looking at the market in general, we could be in the height of the banana zone bull run with the market just blowing off the charts. That would be awesome. It could happen a little bit before that. It could happen a little bit after that. But if it happens right then, it would be awesome because it would be literally, truly following the cyclical pattern, exactly 4 years. And it would also, again, this is giving us something to look forward to. Just bear in mind, that's not the end of it by any stretch. No matter how successful we are in November, that's not where we're going to, everybody bails and wraps up and goes off to other things. Our goal is to, we're going to go through good times. We're going to go through hard times. Here's another quote for you. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. So knowing that we've gone through these hard times, I've heard it from a lot of people that have been in crypto for a long time. They've been through. I started as many of I started in May of 2021. So coming up on, well, it's actually just almost 4 years because I started in May, first thing that I invested in, and that has been there has been some hard times since then. There's been some good times. There's been some hard times, but difficulty strengthen the mind as labor does the body. It's the hard times that actually make you stronger, not the good times. The good times, anybody, a sailor can do well in the, in when the winds are perfect, but you learn to sail when the winds are hard and difficult, right? Hard comes, but it doesn't last, right? So the bad times don't last and the good times don't last. Everything continues in cycles, and that's one of the things I recognized about crypto was that it's it's like other investments. It's like the stock market, but it's on steroids, and it's just completely, you know, 10 times, 100 times more volatile. I understood that, and that's what made it exciting because that upside could be crazy more volatile. You have to understand that that means that the downside can be crazy more volatile. But knowing that, the good times come and the bad times come, we have to just recognize that even if worst case we ended up, going into an investment like some of us did and losing all of our money, it's not the end. It's not the end of our life, hopefully, right? Hopefully we're healthy. And so at some point you're able to, have something, make a comeback and build on it, right? And, you know, if you look back at your life, would you say, um, if you took away the hard parts, of our past, you would not be who you are today. If I took away the hard parts of the last 4 years, or actually my entire life, I don't know if everybody has, heard my story. But I suffered pretty bad in the Great Recession. I started in real estate in 2004. I had, half a year and then one full year that was good. 2005 was good, brand new to real estate. Starting in 2006, it was rough. And it got down to where, I was literally had all my money was gone. And I had thought that I was doing well because I had had those, a year and a half of good years. And it got to the point where I ended up having to file for bankruptcy. I had like $35 in my bank account, and I needed to get gas and I had a minivan at the time, and I needed to decide to get gas so I could go and show properties, but realizing that if I fill up the tank of gas for $35, I have zero. Literally don't have any money at all. And just realizing that I had no choice but to keep going and to keep going. And, looking back, if I had never been through the Great Recession, I had never been through a bankruptcy, I had never been through losing, would I have understood and learned everything? Actually, after that, I went through the process of kind of clawing my way back. And as an agent, I ended up helping over 100 people to do a short sale. And the interesting thing about, my skill set in helping people do short sales is that if I helped them, I understood them because I had been through it. If I had come to them and they knew that I was, I had never been through this situation of, challenge that they had been through, they would have sensed it. And so the adversity was the thing that made me qualified to be a great support and agent to help them with their short sale or foreclosure or whatever they were dealing with. And I look back and realize that, you know, that's what made me qualified, was something I was ashamed of, something I was not proud of. I did not want it to happen. I didn't think it was going to happen. It was just, trusting that your income was going to be there, and then having, a house payment and all of that. So, it's one of those things that, you look back. But I heard an example the other day that if you were to take the biographies of great people, pretty much any biography, go and just put rows and rows of biographies, and especially people who accomplished something, people who you're impressed by, like, wow, these are amazing people. The first half of that book is usually about struggles. It's usually about hard times. It's usually and often about them making mistakes, pretty stupid mistakes. If you were to take those biographies and just take the first half and cut it out and throw it away, and just read about them when they're super successful, and you're reading about just they've got a lot of money, they're not experiencing any difficulty, it wouldn't be the same book, would it? Well, it's the same with the story of your life, the same with the story of my life. And that's what I think is, honestly, I think when we do get fully past, hey, we're not hardly ever talking about, a certain, a certain group of guys, a certain project. We're not talking about that hardly ever anymore. We'll all understand it was a chapter in the book, right? It was a chapter in the book. But what we're doing is we're writing the next chapter. We're writing another chapter. And if you don't like the chapter that you're on right now, flip the page and start a new chapter. Create a new chapter. Start writing something new. And what I love about this project, I love about this community, is that we're already doing that. We're already pivoting and adjusting in a lot of different ways from one thing to another, but we're adjusting to respond to what the community's responding to, what's happening around us. And, there's been some adversity, some challenges, some setbacks um, in the last 6 months, right? Since I started getting involved in September, I guess I was kind of officially did the launch. But um, in the last 6 months, it's not so much that we haven't had like total disasters like in 2022 and 2023. What we've experienced is more what I like to call Groundhog Day. And the thing about Groundhog Day, I think you have to have seen the movie to understand the expression because, Groundhog Day, it has a meaning, if you just look it up. But in the movie, Groundhog Day, so if you haven't seen the movie Groundhog Day, you maybe can Google it. But in the movie Groundhog Day, the guy wakes up and he experiences the same day over and over and over again. Okay. So if you just understand that that's what it means, waking up and experiencing the exact same day over and over and over again. And I was joking with my wife about it because I had gotten down to I get up at the exact same time, I go to bed at the exact same time. We wake up, I take my dog, out, I make coffee, I do everything literally at exactly the same time every day. And it's kind of gotten to the point where it's very enjoyable because I don't have to think very much. I literally have a ritual of everything from, what I eat, making my coffee, where we sit and have a conversation every morning, my wife and I, and all the way through to my business, my team. We have a meeting, I have a real estate team. We have a very specific time when we meet. We do specific things. We follow a very specific routine, and the good thing about it is that I know that all the important things are in that schedule. It's an entire week. Everything's in that schedule. But also if you're ADD like me, and a lot of people in crypto have ADD, you get bored. You get bored because it's like, I'm just doing the same thing every single day. And I was at a conference not too long ago, and I was actually, see if find the book. I was at the conference, and I was meeting with the writer of the book. Let me see if I got it. Yeah, here it is. Coach Dar. I don't know if you can see this. Coach Dar. I got a picture of myself together with Coach Dar when she was there at the event in Scottsdale. You may have seen me posting on social media. um, Coach Dar gave a talk, and she said something because we were always joking about my schedule being like Groundhog Day, and she said that basically that the most successful people in the world, their schedule is Groundhog Day, and so she works with sports people, and she works with their getting their mind right and helping them break through. She's a coach for the elite athletes, top performers, and for her, what she said was, the top best of the best of the best, their days are Groundhog Day. And so just take, for example, if you're the best basketball player in the world, and you show up every day and your routine is you make 100 3-point shots every single day. Just imagine going out and you're going to make 100 3-point shots as a part of your practice, as a part of your routine. And that's your Groundhog Day. It's you part of you get up, you eat the same, you work out the same, you do your 100 3-point shots. That's kind of boring in the end, right? That's not exciting. People aren't patting you on the back. There's no screaming. But the ones that do that boring consistently every day at that level are the ones who make the shots in the game, right? The one who just wants the fun of playing in the game and the heat of battle, right? They're the ones that are going to miss because they don't have that routine of having done 100 3-point shots a day for the last 365 days of the year. It's going to be almost hard to miss if you have that routine. And that's what elite athletes do, is they're content with the boring. And I had heard this so many times. You have to come to grips with the routine. You have to come to grips with the boring. And so, for us, just to see, trading sideways in the last weeks, trading slightly down, nothing really is going on. It's just really low volume. What that low volume just means, the community, we're not selling, we're not buying, because most community members are probably out of money. They just can't do anything. They just want to support. Um, but the point is, I think sometimes people sell and move on, do other things just out of sheer boredom. And I think it's just a matter of, the resilience is understanding that, hey, just have some fun, engage the community. Definitely don't make investment decisions based on boredom. That makes no sense. And understand that, a routine of having something that is, maybe somewhat boring. It's what the best, elite people of any industry and any sport in the world, that's what they do. They follow a very specific routine because they know what they need to do. They're facing challenges, and and the challenges create purpose. we have a purpose. Our purpose is to change lives. And that's really why like I engaged earlier with Gary Vaynerchuk, is that I believe that Gary wants to change people's lives. I really do. I can hear it in his voice. He's, how he talks to his communities is he's trying to help people to actually implement what he's teaching. And if they do, it literally would change their life. I believe that if I literally listened to everything he said, it would change my life and it would change our community too. So, all right. So I know I've talked a lot about all of this stuff. If you want to share this with Gary Vaynerchuk in his socials too, in some way, who knows, maybe you will help the community to get him to see it. Maybe he'll watch the first few minutes of it. That would be awesome. That would be an awesome outcome for our space tonight. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate your, supporting the community. And if you have any questions or comments, you can always DM me on any of the socials. I'll do my best to get back to you. Thank you so much for coming out tonight, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.